DeWanna Bonner's name wasn't even code in Indiana before Phoenix Mercury head coach Nate Tibbetts spilled the tea in a now league moments that igniting the entire WNBA fan base. Tibbetts cares you admitted that Phoenix had been working for multiple seasons to pull Bomber wave. An Indiana fever, no, not a slip of the town, not a myth. Understanding a straight-up confession, the long-term tampering. Off-the-books recruitment, there completely undermines integrity of player negotiations. If you're here for the real story and not filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. And suddenly will look like a normal player move has turned into one most blatant barefaced scandals the league's seen in years now. Caitlin Clark's team is called the Wreckage, the Indiana Fever already fighting tooth and nail to build a real contender. Our deal with emotional whiplash of investing in Bonner as a veteran cornerstone on a find out she may have been ID exit the whole time. And it wasn't just a spontaneous decision. Phoenix's long game wasn't subtle. The reveal from Tibbetts wasn't some strategic misstep. It was a peek behind a curtain of franchise that believe or rules were suggestions, not boundaries. Fans aren't buying a business decision angle. They see sabotage. This isn't just about Bonner, it's about power. It's about how large market teams like Phoenix have the audacity to run recruitment campaigns like they're selling adventures, while small franchises like Indiana, I love playing defense, would bro in trust and zero backup. That's not competition, it's corporate chess with rigged pieces. And when the league stays silent, it looks like complicity, it looks like favoritism, it looks like tampering isn't just tolerated, it rewarded. The outrage isn't performative. Indiana's chemistry was compromised. The Fever subject 3, already hard fought, was disrupted. One player leaves, but the ripple effect on morale, trust, and team structure is lasting. This was a calculated play, and whether or not league officials act, the damage is already on the scoreboard. This isn't just about one player changing jerseys, and this is about a carefully calculated behind-the-scenes operation to pull a veteran leader out of Indiana Fever and planner in Phoenix. And they didn't even try to hide it with that league comment from Tibbetts. It's clear this wasn't spontaneous. It was premeditated, coordinated, and deeply unethical tampering. Yeah. Let's not even have a debate anymore. It's written all over the coach's face. So how do we get here? And why is everyone, especially Indiana fans, furious? Let's rewind. DeWanna Bonner have been a crucial piece for the Indiana Fever, a veteran presence, someone who could men up the younger talent and help build a strong foundation. Indiana was investing in her not just as a player, but as a leader, the kind of player you structure your locker room culture around. And yet, just like that, she's gone off to Phoenix. At the time, fans were surprised, maybe even confused, but now are angry because that departure wasn't just a career choice, it was a final step in a recruitment mission Phoenix have been plotting for multiple seasons. And then the video drops. Tibbetts doesn't deny it. He laughs, he brags like this was all just parlor. The game as if tampering rules were more like suggestions that what hit hardest, not just that happened, but that was done so shamelessly. You can feel the shift in the air. The trust fans had unfair competition cracked. The belief that every team has a level playing field shattered. Indiana fans aren't as upset. They feel betrayed. They had a vision. We're rebuilding. They were doing things the right way, drafting talent, nurturing chemistry, growing the team from the inside out. Bonner was supposed to be a pillar of that vision. Instead, she was yanked out of blueprint, made construction, leaving a hole in the wall and a pile of resentment behind. And now the league is staring into Haggerty crisis. Let's talk about the real issue here. Tampering, it's supposed to be a hard stop. No back channel conversations, no whispered promises, no long-term grooming of players under contract. By overhead coach can casually admit on recorded footage that his team's been multiple seasons tried to recruit a player who wasn't even a free agent yet. What does that say about enforcement? It says the rules are optional apparently. or at least they are if you're Phoenix, because let's be honest, this isn't the first time a bigger franchise uses weight to get what it wanted, and fans are tired of watching smaller market teams like Indiana invest in player development, only to have those players posed by glossier teams or more clout and loose morals. This isn't just about the DeWanna Bonner. This is about a system that lets bigger fish eat smaller ones while pretending everyone's swimming in the same pool. And the fallout is brutal, and the end of progress stalled, team chemistry shaken, promising rebuild erupted because another team couldn't wait their turn. Bonner's son exit didn't just leave a gap in roster, it sent a message to the locker room. Loyalty is rewarded, playing by the rules doesn't pay, and if you're in a smaller market, good luck keeping your stars. The fans feel it, the players feel it, the damage goes deeper than stat or standings. But here's the twist. Instead of breaking, Indiana fans dug in. They rallied around the players who stayed. They turned betrayal into fuel. Online forums lit up, the anger morphed into purpose. Calls for accountability flooded the comments sections, and heat turned toward league officials who so far have said very little, too little. Because silence and the top only confirms what many fans already suspect, that the WNBA has a double standard, that bigger franchises skirt the rules and walk away unscathed, while smaller ones left to clean up the mess. That ethics are optional, win trophies on the line. This isn't just some petty rivalry drama. This is about the core competition fairness. And when there gets compromised, everything else starts to crack. Fans are now demanding an investigation, not a PR statement, not a quiet internal review, a real public reckoning with what happened, because of Phoenix was tampering and Tibbetts admitted it on camera. It's not a gray area, it's a violation, plain and simple. And if league doesn't act, it's an endorsement. Meanwhile, on social media, the hashtag less chaos is real. Clips are circulating, edits are flying. WNBA Twitter is on fire. But this isn't just about vending. It's about organizing. Fans know their voices matter. They've seen it before. Pressure works, and they're applying it with precision. There's also a growing push for policy reform. Fans and analysts like are asking hard questions. Why aren't tampering rules clearly enforced? Wiser, no transparency in investigations. Why are coaches allowed to admit violations while consequence? The league has a choice. Clean this up now or let it fester, because a scandal isn't just about one shady comment. It's about trust. It's about whether players and fans believe the WNBA cares about integrity, or with all just about protecting power. And the culture shift is happening with or without the league blessing. Fans are demanding more from teams, from leadership, from everyone. Loyalty matters again. Transparency isn't a bonus, is the bare minimum. The days of wink, nod deals and quiet tampering are getting exposed one clip at a time. This all scandals become a turning point, a moment of clarity. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary because of the WNBA want to keep growing. And it is growing, then it needs to prove that it can do it the right way, that winning doesn't have to come at the cost of fairness, that loyalty and ethics aren't liabilities. The DeWanna Bonner might be in Phoenix now, but he echoes of or departure are louder than ever. And Tibbetts, he might have thought he was being clever with that offhand remark, but what he really did was expose cracks in the foundation. League is watching, fans are watching, and if nothing happens, that says everything. So here's your moment where you think, should the league investigate Phoenix for tampering? Was a one-time mistake, or just the tip of the iceberg? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about it. And hey, if you are more unfiltered break of sports scandals like this one, hit the subscribe button, because in a world of shady backdoor deals, expose the we're here to keep receipts front and center. Accountability isn't optional, and neither is fairness. We'll be watching now that the smoke is clearing and fans are connecting the dots. Things are starting to look even more coordinated and even more calculated than they did at first glance. Let's really break this down. DeWanna Bonner didn't just vanish from Indiana plans. She was slowly, methodically extracted, and the people responsible for didn't violate the rules. They treated the whole situation like a flex. You have to ask, how long has this been going on? Tippett said it himself, multiple seasons. That means while Bomber was shooting of Indiana, building trust with teammates, making plays and anchor in the squad, energy Phoenix was lurking in the background, not just watching plan, making moves, chipping away at the bond between Bonner and the team that believed in her. That's not just tampering, that undermining. And for what a quick town boost, a headline-grabbing roster move. Here's the irony: what Phoenix pulled off may own a few games, but it gives him something they can't get back: credibility. And when a team becomes a phase of shady business, it sticks. That label doesn't wash off easily, because fans remember, players remember, and other teams, they start playing defensive court. The ripple effect is real. We're talking locker room paranoia, cause his contracts, and a growing fear among smaller franchises of their stars, and is one sketchy DM or casual friendly conversation away from being snatched. Let's not pretend this is new either. We've seen how power imbalances play out in every major sports league. The big markets get bolder, while the rest league is too old to trust the process. But this isn't a sitcom where everything resets next week. These are real players, real franchises, real futures. So when someone like gets pulled mid-build after Indiana pours time, money, and hope and or leadership, it hits harder than just a bad trade or free agency loss. It's betrayal dressed up as business. And here's what's worse: Phoenix didn't steal a player, they sabotaged a team dynamic. Because when a player like Bonner walks, it sends shockwaves through the entire roster. The chemistry changes, morale drops, younger players start questioning whether loyalty matters at all, and front office is left holding the bag. Try to explain to fan and sponsors how a long-term plan got it overnight. Let's call this what it is: a strategic heist. And now everyone's wondering how many other moves in the league were dirty, how many other clean transitions had months or years of tamper behind them because of this one got caught on tape. What about the ones that didn't? That's why this isn't going away. This is the kind of scandal that ages badly. Every day the league stays silent, it looks more complicit, and fans are already tired of the double standards. They've been watching carefully who gets penalized, who gets texted, and who get a slap on the wrist for full-on violations. There's a growing belief that if this were reversed, if Indiana had been ones tampering to pull a player from Phoenix, the hammer would have already dropped: fines, suspensions, public apologies, the works. But Phoenix still coasting. He's still tweeting, still smiling to the storm like didn't just let him match in the middle of a rebuild. And let's talk about what a fan response has been so loud, because this isn't just about outrage, it's about ownership. Fans feel like their teams are part of their identity. You invest emotionally, financially, sometimes and spiritually. So when someone cheats your team out of a future, you don't just get mad, you mobilize. That's what we're seeing now: fans turning into watchdogs, clips being deceptive, frame by frame, leagues getting spotlighted, receipts being archived. This is grassroots accountability at its finest, and it's exposing the cracks the league thought he could gloss over. The WNBA has an opportunity right now, a defining moment. They can either double down on transparency and actually enforce her tampering rules, or they can keep brushing off and risk the trust has been slowly and painstakingly built with fans over the years. Because let's be clear, you or the league need fan trust more than ever. Growth is happening, the spotlight is brighter, more eyes are on the WNBA right now than ever before. And without attention comes scrutiny. You can ask for bigger audiences and new sponsors while letting franchises play dirty behind the scenes. You are legitimately, then you have to act like it matters right now. That means consequences for Phoenix, real ones, not a vague statement about reviewing procedures or reminding teams the rules. We've heard it all before. Fans are past lip service. They want fine, suspension, strip picks, something that makes it clear this league will not be gamed, because the alternative, it's already happening. Smaller market teams start retreating, players get worried, trust and leadership fades. And the worst part, casual fans tuning in for first time start thinking, oh, it's just like every other league: politics, power games, no real structure. And just like that, the harder and momentum fizzles. The WNBA can't afford that right now when it's on the cusp of a true breakthrough, but that breakthrough requires integrity and demand accountability, and if Phoenix gets a slide on it sends a worst possible message that winning is more important than playing fair. Meanwhile, over in Indiana, you better believe they're taking notes. That team is unfolding. They're angry, yes, frustrated, hurt, but they're also focused. The players who stayed there grinding, they are hungry, and most importantly, they're loyal. That kind of loyalty can be bought or tampered with. Its forwards and fire. So maybe Phoenix think they pulled off the perfect scheme. Maybe Tibbets gets a few extra wins under his belt. Maybe they even make a deep run. But down the line, you have to ask at what cost. Because when it comes to sports, legacies is not just about rings, it's about how you got them. And right now, Phoenix is writing a chapter. They might not be proud when the dust settles. And DeWanna Bonner, she's in the middle of all this, talented, respected, but now tied to scandal that way bigger than her. It's unfortunate, honestly, because instead of her career been defined by your skills and leadership, is now tangled up in questions of ethics and behind the scenes gaming. Fair enough. But that's the reality when moves get made like this, and if you're the WMM watching it unfold, this is your red flag, your siren, your warning sign. Ignore it, and you invite chaos. Address a head-on, and you send a message this league is serious about doing things right way. So it happens now. That's on the league office. But make no mistake, fans aren't letting this go. The footage is out there. The quotes are clear. The timeline lines up. This isn't speculation. This is tampering confessed in plain sight. And if the league doesn't care, fans, well, they'll keep the pressure on. They amplify every shady quote, every silence, every deflection, because they know what's at stake. The integrity of the game, the trust between teams and fans, the belief that any team, no matter market size, can build something real. The belief is everything, and once it's gone, it's nearly impossible to get back. So yeah, the scandal's not over, not even close. It's just getting started. And how the league respond would define its future more than any buzzer beater or highlight reel. This isn't as a spicy clip moment that blows over in a few news cycles. This as a scar on the league reputation, the kind that keeps reopening every time fans hear a post-game interview, watch a tree announcement, or see a star player leave a rebuilding team for a flash or zip code. Because once you see the game behind game, you can see that the DeWanna Bombers' move to Phoenix could have been just another trade. Another shift in a long WNBA offseason, but thanks to that league quote from Nate Tibbets, is become something else entirely. Proof that the power players in league are playing by their own rules, and they're not even being subtle about it anymore. He said it flat out that they've been working on this for seasons, which means that while Indiana was developing a team identity, while players were trusting Bonner to be the steady hand, and the Storm, Phoenix was busy plotting, mapping out, when a swoop and lining up conversations, waiting for their moment to strike. You don't call that smart strategy, you call that manipulation. And let's talk about what that kind of manipulation does to a team like Indiana. This isn't a franchise that coasting on legacy. They've been fighting for progress, grinding out growth the hard way. Draft picks, young rosters, careful cat management, building culture, not just chasing headlines. And in the middle of all that, they anchor themselves around Bonner, a respected veteran, a voice of experience, someone you lean on when you're trying to teach young squad what professionalism looks like. And then gone, not because of a poor fit, not because of drama in the locker room, but because another team decided they wanted more, and they didn't feel like waiting. What's worse, the WNBA let them, because again, what's the point of having tampering rules in the violations don't come with consequences? The Tibbets quote wasn't vague. He didn't stutter. He cares. You exposed a multi-season plan, the poker player under contract, and everyone just kept moving like was normal, like this wasn't a textbook case of league misconduct. And if this doesn't your response, what will be? If you're an Indiana front office, how do you even react to that? You're told follow the rules, invest wisely, build from within, and you do all of it, you do it right, only to have another team snake your core veteran in broad daylight and brag about it. You'd feel betrayed, disrespected, like the league doesn't would you try to build unless it fits into a more marketable narrative? And that's the room at all, isn't it? This whole mess is exposed something deeper. The perception that the league favors its big-name franchises, the legacy teams, the teams with the loudest branding and flashiest sponsorships. When they win, it's good business. When it's cheap, it's a PR inconvenience. But when a smaller team gets burned, silence. And in the WNBA, every fan counts, every game matters, and every storyline helps push the lead forward. This kind of double standard is more than just frustrating, it's dangerous. Because of the system is rigged to protect only a handful teams, the rest of the league stop believing in the process. Once I believe dies, the product suffers. You think fans gonna stay loyal when their team keeps losing players? The shady backroom deals you think up and coming stars won't start looking over their shoulders wondering when they'll be next. Because let's not kid ourselves, if Phoenix get away with this, they're not the only ones. Other teams are watching, taking notes, figuring out how to work the gray area without getting caught. And suddenly tampering goes from an exception to the new norm. And here's the kicker. All of this could have been avoided if the league had simply enforced its own rules. Instead, they hesitated, maybe hoping it would blow over, maybe hoping fans would move on, but they didn't. And they won't, because the people who support this league aren't just pass or watchers. They care, they're invested, and they want to believe in something better than what the other leagues offer. That belief is hanging by a thread right now. So now to test it, test the leadership of ethics, of how much the WNBA values into integrity it's always claimed to stand for. And